Yo, what's up guys? Back at it. We're here at my house. We're gonna do day 2 of the Mesocycle, and today is leg day. Hope you guys enjoyed the first video, the first upper body day and the hypertrophy guide. So yeah, day 2, leg day. We're gonna first start with the warm-up, and then we're gonna go through 4 different exercises. We're gonna have heel elevated goblet squats, RDLs, frog pumps, and calf raises. All right, try and keep all equipment simple that you can do at home. So follow along and let's get into the warm-up. All right, so we want to warm up the primary muscles we're going to be using during the workout. So quads, hamstrings, glutes, calves. So we'll start with a lunge. Big fan of lunges. Ooh, hip hop. Let's warm up the quads and the glutes. I like to do reverse lunges, so it kind of prompts you to keep your front knee back and not putting too much stress on the patella tendon. So just a few reps of those. Next we'll go to field goal kicks. And just take a step, kick up, feel stretch in the back of the leg and the hamstring. I like to put my hand out as a little bit of a marker to shoot for. And remember, the purpose of a dynamic warm-up is to get the blood flowing, get the muscle fibers firing, get your heart rate up. Cool, perfect. Next we'll do kickbacks. So kick back, squeeze the glutes. I like to go out a little bit of a diagonal, not exactly straight back. Keep the chest up. And the last one, I like to do Cossack squats. So you're gonna get a wide stance, toes pointed out. Get down in a squat. You're gonna shift your hips to one side, make sure your knee tracks with the toes. Then you're gonna shift to the other side, knee tracks with the toes. You feel stretch in the adductors on the opposite leg. Boom, perfect. You can add any extra warm-up that you like if you want some extra. That'll be it for the video. We'll jump into the first exercise. Alright guys, so we have first exercise here. We're going to do heel elevated goblet squats. So our first exercise is going to be a squat movement. You always want to kind of have some kind of squat movement in your exercise, and it's predominantly targeting your quads and your glutes. I'm doing a heel elevated squat because it does target your quads more, because I'll kind of show you. When you have your heels elevated like this, you're in plantar flexion. So when you go down in your squat, you're activating your quads a lot more than your glutes, as opposed to like a flat squat like this, or a flat-footed squat like that. And goblet squat, if you don't have a heavy enough kettlebell or dumbbell, you can use like a water jug, or like put a backpack with some textbooks or anything heavy you might have around the house. Just put it in the backpack, strap it onto the front of you, and there you go. You got a front-loaded squat. And then if you don't have a plate at home, so anything like, again, a textbook is a good one, or if you have some shallow like stairs, just something to elevate the heels up off the ground will work. All right, so we'll jump into it. So what I recommend is 10 to 12 reps for each set, and 5 sets in total. You want to keep the sets high because we only have one leg day throughout the week. So 5 sets is a good amount to really target those quads and get at least maintenance, or if you're coming from a lower baseline, something to help kind of grow the quads. Tips and tricks on this one is keeping the core engaged, and also, because it's a goblet squat, keeping your upper back engaged, squeezing your upper back, because you're holding the weight up in this position. And then keeping your knees tracking with your toes when you're going down your squat. Any kind of squat, you always want to make sure your knees track your toes. So whether you like your toes straight forward or slightly turned out, it's kind of up to your preference. Make sure your knees track with the toes for good knee health. That's it for the heel elevated goblet squat, and we'll move on to the next one. Is going to be frog pumps. So frog pumps is an exercise for glutes. We're going to do some glute isolation. It's going to be 2 sets and very high repetitions. I'm just going to do body weight, so like anywhere from 20 to 30. That's kind of the upper range of muscle hypertrophy is like 30. If you're going above that, you're turning it more into cardiovascular activity. But we want muscle activation, so 20, 30. Shout out to Brett Contreras. He's the one I got this exercise from, the glute guy. If you're looking for glute exercises, hit him up. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to do in the shade, because it's just a little too sunny to be looking up. So what you're gonna do is have your feet together, bottom of your feet together, knees out, and try and keep your heels close to your butt. Squeeze your shoulder blades, scapular traction. You're gonna push up and squeeze the glutes at the top. So because your feet are put together, you're getting a lot of glute activation at the top. I won't do the full set. It's a lot of sets, or reps rather. But yeah, like I was saying, with the feet together, you have more glute activation at the top as opposed to a normal hip bridge where your feet are flat on the ground and you're pushing up. So I like that one more than just a normal hip bridge on the ground. 2 sets of those, right? All right, guys, next exercise, we're gonna do Barbell RDLs. A personal favorite of mine, I really enjoy this exercise. So it's a hip hinge movement, predominantly targeting your hamstrings, also targets your glutes a little bit. So it's really important to have some kind of hip hinge exercise. Because of the 1 day a week, we don't have any knee dominant hamstring exercises. I'll incorporate it in the next Mesocycle, but hip dominant is much more beneficial because you can lift a lot more weight and it's more transferable to a lot of other things. If you don't have barbell, you can do dumbbells, kettlebells, lots of other stuff. Any kind of implements you have, it works. I'm gonna do 4 sets, and we're gonna do 10 to 12 reps, just like the elevated heel elevated goblet squat. All right. Go for it. Boom. All right, perfect. So that was a set. Tips and tricks. Really important, hip hinge. So really working getting the hips back, keeping the knees stationary. Don't let those knees shoot forward, right? Really trying to load those hamstrings. Keeping the spine neutral and engaged, or your low back engaged. It's just like the bent over rows. You need to engage the lower back, keep the spine neutral, and keep the bar nice and tight to your shins when you're going down. All right, you want to make sure it keeps nice and close, because if it gets too far away, it's going to put extra stress in your low back. And then scapular traction. People have a tendency when they go down to round forward. You see my spine, it rounds. So keep that scapular traction. It's not about going about how far down you can go, but how much stretch you can get in the hamstrings. All right, lots of tips and tricks on that one, but it's a complicated movement, and I recommend you get it down real good. All right, guys, last one is calf raises. So what we're gonna be doing is 3 sets and keep the reps high. I like to say, 15 plus. It just really kind of depends on the weight you have. You can go like AMRAP, as many reps as possible. It's just kind of dependent on your weight that you have. But kind of keep the reps high, because the gastroc is a muscle that has a lot more type 1 muscle fibers. So it activates more from higher repetitions, as more opposed to like the quads or the hamstrings or the chest. So yeah, that's it. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna do tips and tricks on calf raises. Really important to make sure you get a good stretch in your calf. I see a lot of people use the calf raise machine at home, or sorry, not at home, at the gym before it closed, and they just kind of like bounce. And you're not really getting much muscle activation, and they would really only bring their heel so it was parallel with the ground. They wouldn't let their heel drop down low, get that stretch in the muscle here. I'll demonstrate. So they go from like right here and they kind of bounce up and down like this real fast. You want to make sure your heel drops down low, you get a real deep stretch in the muscle, and then you contract at the top. So calf raise is a somewhat easy exercise, but it's also easy to mess up. So just make sure you get that stretch and the flex, you'll be good to go. All right, thanks for watching episode 2 of the Hypertrophy training guide and following along. This was leg day. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Wasn't too challenging for you. Look out for day 3 this Friday. It'll be the second upper body day of the week for the Hypertrophy training program. From there, you guys can follow along with the rest of the program that I have up on my website. And then once those 4 weeks are over, we're gonna start up the next Hypertrophy guide. I'm gonna switch up the programming, change the exercises, change the intensities, durations, all that good stuff, and we'll come back with more videos demonstrating, all right? So I'll see you guys on Friday. Bye.